Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today I'll be doing a build tutorial on the Quanum XJ470, which is a 470 size quadcopter frame. And I'll be showing you not really a totally in-depth tutorial because this is a pretty difficult build, at least for me, and I can't do everything on camera, but I'll try and show you as much as I can. So I'm going to start out with the landing gear here, which is just the first thing I did. You can see I have one built up here, and I'll show you how to do that. So you get these thin, long carbon rods, and what you have to do is take, let's see if you want to put you get these little kind of rings that go around them. You put that over it, and they just slide over, like that. You should slide on. These ones are a little rougher, scratching up the tubes. So here we go. And then you get this carbon fiber plate here that you have to put on, and you don't want to put it like this. And there's screws that come with it in this bag, because there's tons of bags, but they're mostly grouped together. There's a short screw and a long screw. And for the short screws, they are the ones that go in these two holes, and the long screw goes in the big hole. So I'm just going to put a short screw through. And tighten that down. Just finger tight. There's that one, and then attach it to the other little slider clamp. You can see on the back, they're just screwing through into those little clamps. And you have to do it in this order. You have to put the short screws in first, because I tried to tighten the clamps down on the arms first, but without this plate on to provide support, it won't tighten. So let's screw these down relatively tight. You don't want to break anything. You don't need to strain them, they're not coming off. Okay, there we go. So now you notice on this one I have put it not in the center. That's because they're angled arms, so you kind of want this to be in the center. That's just what I've seen on the site. That's about where they had theirs. So if I'm doing it this way, go back a little bit, let me put these on, these little foam things, they just slide right on. Right there. This will just help me position it a little better. Okay, there we go. So now I'm gonna, if this one goes like that, I'm gonna put it right, let's look where I put the other one, right about there. Then you take the long screws, and they don't pressure against the carbon. The holes are too big, so you just put them in like that, there, and then tighten it down. And don't over tighten these, you'll strip them, because they start to they push the two pieces together of the clamp, and it tightens down around the carbon, as you can see there. It's focusing on it. You can see they just clamp together, and then it'll tighten down, and that's not going to go anywhere. And now you can see have the landing gear built. So they look pretty cool. Not the highest landing gear, but the gimbal is a forward-facing upwards mounting gimbal, so they should be high enough. So that was the first thing I built. So now let's do the next part, which probably I'm gonna try and do the motor mounts next. So let's go to that. Okay, here we are back again. As you can see, I have completed 3 out of 4 arms. You can see I have the booms here with the mounts on the end and the motor attached there. They look pretty sweet. And just so you know, there are the booms. There are longer ones. There are 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. If I line these up, you can see this one is just a little bit longer. and the two longer ones are the front arms. So these two are my fronts, and this is one back. And then I'm gonna show you how to do my the other one here. So start off first, we take the boom, we look at it. There is one end with two holes on it and one end with one. The end with one hole is the one you want, only one that will work. And then you take your aluminum piece here, slide it over until the holes line up right there like that. And then you take this one, a long screw, comes with 4 of these, so don't lose any. And then you're gonna put it in from the side that has this little nub up on it. As you can see there, this end doesn't, but this side does, so start it in from there, which is actually the bottom of the arm, and just screw that on through. And this takes a medium size Allen key. Okay, there we go. I have that through. As you can see, I tightened it up. I didn't force it that tight, but it is definitely solid on there, and you can see the screw just started to come out on this end here. And you can use thread lock if you want on these, since it's metal to metal, but I didn't feel like it. I probably should, but I only used Loctite on the motors. So, and now these motors and the holes, let me talk about these. They originally come with holes here. This middle hole is to fit the C-clip in shaft. As you can see, it comes down to the bottom. However, these motors, even though they're like the recommended size, they wouldn't fit through the hole. So what I had to do, I had to drill out the hole here. This hole, I drilled it out wider so it could fit my motors, as you can see there. So it now fits in there. And also the mounting holes on here don't really fit the holes on the arms. So if I use the 2 farther apart holes and the 2 closer together holes on here, I can get 2 screws in. So I can only fit 2 screws on the arms, and this seems like a pretty common thing. I've seen some other people, but that only usually happens with a lot larger motors like 35s or 40s. These are 28s, so, but that's just what it is. But that should be okay with just the 2 screws, as long as you Loctite it. Okay, here we have the screws. Let's take our Loctite. And this uses an even larger Allen key. Let me get this here, and then put some Loctite on it. You don't want to use too much. You don't want to leak onto other things, but you definitely want to use some. Only 2 screws, so then we're gonna put it. Let's see which way I want this to go. And these are the package. The bolt these bolts comes with 2 long screws and 4 short ones, and the 2 long ones are for the prop adapter. So you use the short ones for your motors. Now that we have them in, let's use the other end to get good leverage and tighten them down pretty tight. You don't want to strip them though, but you don't want your motors falling out in flight. There we go, really on there. It's not coming off at all, even though there's 2 motors. And as you can see on the other ones, I have the wires tucked away, and they come with bullets. I'm going to cut these off because I need to solder on longer wires to run through the booms to put my ESCs over here. But first, you take this little piece here. This just goes on the bottom. It also comes with a bunch of these little screws in their own packet with these mounts. So a lot of the screws come in bags with the things they go to, which is really convenient because it gets rid of a lot of guesswork. And there's not really any build videos on this that I've seen, so I think mine's kind of the first build video, at least more than just a time lapse. But there is an online sort of manual diagram. It's like 2 pages long, but that's pretty much, I looked at it and it didn't help me at all. It's not in detail, you can't tell. So just kind of doing it as I go. That's why I do some of them first before I show you how to do it, to make sure I do it right. Okay, let's tighten these there. And like I said, you can use Loctite on these with thread locker, but I'm gonna choose not to. Okay, there we go, pretty tight, and I'm not gonna put the wires in just right now because it doesn't really matter. But there we go, that was how you build your arms. And then, like I said, these are the two short ones and the two long ones, and the long ones go up front. So now I'm gonna attach those to the body and do everything else. But I think that was gonna be the end of part 1, because I'm gonna do this in 2, maybe 3 parts for the video. So stay tuned for the next one. Please subscribe. Just doing it in different parts because it's going to take me a while to build this, couple days. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, here we are back again. As you can see, I have part of the frame built here. In this segment, I'm just going to go over how to attach all of these things as well as put on the other leg. So for these things, these mounts, the motor or the arm mounts, because they work with these thumb screws, which allow the folding option. That's why there's 8 of them, because the front arms hold here, but then they fold to here. The back arms hold here and then fold to here. And this is the front up here. This is the front. And for this curved piece in the back, make sure when you put this on, it comes with screws, and they are in the bag with it. Make sure you put it on the right way up, because the bottom side has threads and the top doesn't. So you want the threads to be on the bottom, so make sure you do that right. And then for the to attach the landing feet, comes with a bag with these things, and they are symmetrical as far as I could tell, so it doesn't really matter which way you put them on. And basically, there's 2 holes here and here, and you screw them on like that, and then you attach the leg to them. So I'm gonna do that right now. So you take the screws here, and I think this is a 1.5 or no, a 2mm Allen wrench, I think. And then put the screw up through. Like I said, there's no instruction manual really. There is one diagram that I have been using a little bit, but it doesn't really help much. So I'm just kind of figuring out as I go. That's why I try to do part of it first. So when I show you, I have a better idea if it's right or not. Let's get that one in there. Not much room right now, so it might be easier to put these in before you put these in. Okay, now we have that one in. You can see just like the other side, and it hangs down there. So now let's do the other one. Okay, there we go. Now we have both of those on. So now you're going to take your leg, and you can see there's 4 screws up here, which attach it on. And since this is the front, this is the way the leg goes on the right side, and for the left, it's going to go on like that. So that's the way the legs look. They kind of go backwards. So let's take our screw. Let's get it on there. Okay, there we go. Now I have both the legs on, as you can see there. Pretty good. And now this is the time when if you need to adjust these, sliding your rod to get them even, you can do so now because they're mounted on there firmly, but that's how you do the landing legs. And that should make it a little bit easier throughout the build just to get this plate up. I don't know, that's what I'm going to do. So let me figure out the next part that I'm going to do, and I'll be back on camera once I have most of it done. So I'll be back then. Okay, here we are back again. As you can see, I have this monster almost built. I attached the arms, and now basically all you had to do was, there's a screw that goes under up through, and you just put that in, and then for right now you can just use the thumb screw to hold it in place because there's only one plate on. That's why it's bouncing so much. And I also partially built the top plate with the gimbal mount. This was pretty simple to do. You just had to these things, these little, like if you thought rubber grommets were bad getting on, wait till you try these things. They're really hard to get together, but then that just goes on like that, and that'll stiffen everything up as well as all the other screws that's supposed to go on it. But right now I'm going to, all I have left really, my next step is going to be wiring up my ESCs, because I have to lengthen these wires and then run them through the booms, and then I'm going to mount my ESCs in here as well as my power distribution board, and then I'll probably go up a plate, and then I'll probably have my flight controller and receiver up here, and then up the next plate, which is this one, I'll have my GPS. I'll probably stick that on there. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to show you the soldering, because if you don't know how to solder, you shouldn't be doing this build. But I'll be back once I have that done in the next step. Like I said, it's not that much of a build video, but I'm just trying to help anyone who gets this, because it's just really hard to do a video on something like this. But I'll be back when I'm done with the next thing. Okay, here we are back again. As you can see, it's undergone quite a bit of transformation. As you can see, I now have my ESCs all hooked up. And first what I had to do was, from the motors, I had to, let's see if you can see it in there, the different colored wires. I had to make extensions to fit, so they would fit all the way through the arms and then come out here. And now I had a little bit of problem with the ESCs, and you're supposed to be able to put them underneath the motor pods in them. You're supposed to be able to fit them in there, but mine are 30 amp ESCs, which is quite a bit of overkill, but there's no way they were going to fit in there, so I had to mount them on the body. And they wouldn't all fit on this inner plate here, so what I did was I took the back two here, and I ran them underneath, as you can see here, and I strapped them to the legs. I have one on the left and one on the right, and they're not that noticeable from the side because they're black and they blend in, but not that bad. And I'd rather have function over form, and then function over fashion, or whatever it is. And then for the front two, what I did was I took the wires, I made these ones a little bit longer. You see, I used 12 gauge, which is really too big. I would recommend using 14 or 16. You don't need them that big at all. They were a little bit hard actually to fit through the arms with the screws, but I crossed them over just because it made it easier. And then I glued my other two ESCs down here. And now for that, I have my power distribution board here that I'm going to basically, these wires I can spread out just a little bit, and it'll fit right in there with pillars, of course, to keep it up. And I'm going to solder everything to it. All these wires will reach just fine to that. And then I'll run my battery cable out the back and down through this hole that's left here, as you can see. And here's my battery. It's a 4004S. And then that just fits underneath here, so as you can see, it fits pretty perfectly right in between the landing feet. So I guess I'll do that, and then this will come back up here and plug in there. So that's what I'm going to do next, is install the power distribution board and with the wires and wire everything up. I do have LEDs. I'm not sure we're going to put them, but they say they're 2 to 3S. However, I plugged them into my 4S battery and they work just fine. So I guess I'm going to be using them. So once I do that, I'll be back with another segment. Okay, here we are back again. As you can see, I made some pretty drastic progress on this. Let me take the thumb screws out, and I'll show you what all I did to wire this up. Let's take this top plate off. You can see the guts of it all. Whoops, my arms are folding. You can see the guts of it all right there. Basically, I just put the power distribution board in the middle, and I put Velcro down just to be sure there'd be no shorts, and then I also put it on 2 posts so it's suspended even above the Velcro. And then I wired everything up. My battery cable comes out the side here and then plugs into the back. Like I said, everything just fit right in. I soldered on my ESCs on. And then I also, as you can see down here, I put LEDs along the arms, and I used black wire to keep the wires sort of concealed against the black carbon there. And then I wired them together, 2 on each arm, and wrapped them around, and they're the Hobby King LEDs, the strips. So now if I plug it in, you can see there that looks pretty cool. I have blue in the front and red in the back, and they are very bright. And these are only supposed to be run on 3S, but I'm running them on 4S directly, and they seem to be doing just fine. They don't heat up, and that's good for that. So it looks pretty good so far. And my weight right now is about 1,400 grams. So I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. I don't know if that's going to be too heavy. I mean, these are 2810 motors with 12-inch props, so that's a lot of thrust off of them. But, you know, I'll see how it comes out in the end. So now, basically, I do need to lengthen the length of the ESC wires over here. I do have my battery strapped on the bottom. I just put foam on that to keep it there. So I do need to lengthen the couple wires there. But other than that, everything's good, and I should be ready to put this plate on for real and screw that down. And then what I'm going to mount on here is my flight controller, my receiver, and then anything else. I'm going to connect that all up on this plate and then run the next top plate up, which is the white plate, and then put my GPS on top of there to get the best signal. And the gimbal mount is up here. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do, and I'll be back when I've done the next thing. Okay, here we are back again, and now I have it completely 100% built, or at least I hope so. And I'm sorry that kind of jumped from pretty much me showing you how to install the screws and just the arms to pretty much just I did it all on my own. Like I say, I'm sorry about that. It's just, this is such a it's a pretty hard build, at least for me, and pretty much it's kind of self-explanatory, at least in the sense that all these screws come with in bags the things they go to, so you don't really need a video. It's just, you need to, if you can't do this by yourself, I don't think you really should be doing it. You should be going with a smaller, easier build first. But basically, let's just run down what I've did since the last time. So as you can see in here, I've added the top plate, and that is the external GPS and compass. So let me take that off. Okay, I got my Allen key here. So let me remove these two screws. I only put two in, just enough to hold the plate on, because I knew I'd be taking it off for you. So let's take that off. Oops, forgot I had that glued on there. So there we go. Now you can see internally what I've done on the top here. So basically we have our HK Pilot Micro right there, the flight controller. And I have mounted it, you can't really see it, but it's on a post with anti-vibration dampening mount. So as you can see there, that pretty much takes up the entire post space. Sorry, let me zoom in. This is hard to see. So there is a vibration mount in there. So if I move this, you can see I can move the whole thing, but I glued the bottom of the mount down. And up here, I glued my FreeSky X8R in, and I just glued it down and put a rubber band around it to strap the other cables to it. And then I basically, this wire coming up from here takes the power out of the power distribution board. I ran it up and connected it to the flight controller, and that powers everything up here with 5 volts. And then on this side, that's all the motor connectors, as you can see here. And this one over here was for the receiver, and I just bundled that all up and actually glued it down right there. So let's look over here. I have the gimbal mount on, as you can see here. It didn't really fit that well. It kind of bent it together a little bit, but I'm not worried about that. I don't have a gimbal or the camera I'm using yet. I'll be getting a Phaotech 3-axis gimbal as well as the SJ-Cam 5000X Elite. So here we have my battery, like I said, 100G Nanotech 3570C 4S 4000 milliamp hour. So should get, hoping for 20 minutes flight time, but I really have no idea. And I just want to say that this was pretty hard to configure in Mission Planner just to get it to work so far. Okay, sorry about that. I knocked the camera off, so we're back. So like I was saying, it's pretty hard to configure in Mission Planner. And that's mainly due to my laptop is super slow. Like, I definitely need a new one, but I got this so far. I don't think there's any self-leveling on it yet. I haven't set that up. So I'm going to do a sort of an indoor hover maiden flight test right after this, so I'm kind of worried. But I did get all the motors to spin, and I will show you that here. And I did test it with a prop on, and I just want to say that these LD power props, I'm a little bit scared of these because The pitch is 5.5, so I think that may draw too many amps for the circuit board, the power distribution board, so I'm kind of wary of trying to use these. So that's the reason why I got these, but I just want to say these multi-star 12x4s are awful. I mean, the wood, especially I balanced the blades. You can see it, there's tape over here. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but there is tape right there. You can see that. And the hubs are completely not even the right size on the size of material on each side, because I spun one up while it was on a motor, and one side was way bigger than the other. You could tell when it was spinning, and it was creating a ton of vibration. And to balance the hub out like that, you would need to do a lot of sanding or a lot of weighting. So I think I'm going to have to resort to these and just hope it doesn't burn the board out. And these just fit on, and they spin and clear the frame just fine. Now let's take our radio here. I've got it, my FreeSky Tyrannus Plus.
Welcome to OpenTV.
Turn on my radio, and I don't really have anything set up besides the basic channel so far. No flight mode switch. Let's take our battery here. As you can see, we got that there, and now that blue light here is flashing for our GPS, saying we don't have anything. You can see these LEDs I've added on the arms. They look pretty awesome. That was pretty easy to do. We have a light up here, however, no GPS. I don't think I've gotten anything indoors. I'm just going to show you that it arms quick, and how you do that stock from the APM is you hold your right stick down to the right. As you can hear there, it starts up. And then I get movement, and I don't like how it spins on auto, but I guess for a camera rig like this, that might be a good thing. And then to disarm, you just put your stick down and to the left, and then it'll disarm right there. Let's see, did I get any GPS? No, I still didn't, so I don't think I'm going to get anything in here. But there we go, that's pretty much. I'll leave a link to all the parts down below from this video, where I got everything. I bought everything 100% from Hobby King, and it was all my own money. I got it during a sale, so I saved about $200, but the components all regular price are about $500, $600, $500 regular price. Then add your camera and a gimbal, depending on which ones you get, and you're probably looking at $1,000 for the total rig. So this was quite an investment for me, for my channel. So this is going to be my baby, the pride of my channel. So stay tuned for more coming on it. I'll do a maiden flight, first maiden flight outdoors, and definitely tons of camera footage, stabilized camera footage that'll come from it in the months, years, the future to come. So stay tuned for that. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.